Alright, so I got the request to make a video about how to make a pedigree in Canva from the very beginning of like being in the Canva tool itself, not just how to make one in there like I had done in times previous, which you can go back and watch that video. I give more details about what needs to be in a pedigree, in just different ways to make the process a little bit faster. So if you create your Canva account and you log in, this is where they are going to take you. So this essentially is the home page. They've got the basic templates that they have up here, your designs, which is what you will basically have saved to your account. You can click through a lot of them here to see them, or click see all, and then further on down they've got other examples. What you need to do, instead of using a named tool that they have in here, we're just going to create a custom design. Now, let me close this out because I had already clicked this today. So when you first click create a design, it's going to come up with all of these. But you want to come down here to the custom size button, and most images are made in what's called pixels, but we want to swap this over to inches right now because we want to document that is the size of a piece of paper. Okay, so most most pieces of paper are 8.5 by 11, but that is vertical. We want it to go landscape. So we need to do 11 inches by 8.5. Okay, so just type in 8.5 and then click create new design. You can do this if you want to, but the only difference is it's going to give you templates, and honestly we don't need their templates because they are not going to have anything in there. We just want a blank document. Alright, so once it pulls up all of this, there is a lot going on here. I'm only going to explain what you need to know to make the pedigrees. If you want a Canva tutorial for other things that would involve your rabbitry, then drop them in the comments and I will do that. Alright, so let me click over. This is the goal. This is what we are trying to make. And so the best thing to do is just to build it from the back forward, not the other way around, because this is the side that you're going to have to like smush a lot in here. So I am going to check this number. You can zoom in really, really close because when you're going to build this and use it for your rabbitry, you're going to need to do that. So there was the zoom bar down there. All right. Now, the thing that I am trying to look at, I need to ungroup these really quick. All right, now we want to start with, all right, this is 1.8 by 1. So I'm just using this as an example, and you are more than welcome to take the dimensions that I mentioned in the video and use them. Now we need a box that does not have anything in the center of it. Now click the tab of elements, and this is your recently used stuff up here, but you won't have that yet. So when you go in here to shapes, and then they will upload all kinds of options. Usually the shape that we need is down in here. See, and then these ones with the black in them are basically saying that there is not, like if I put something else, watch, behind them, we're going to bring this forward, you would still see the item. See how now that's a different color? See what I'm doing there? So there's nothing in the center of this. Okay, so one thing that you need to know is that when you are dragging these frames, you need to drag it with the corner so you can make those bars extremely thin. So you don't need them to be really big. Then, so that this doesn't make it thicker, you drag out from the center of each of the sides to make the box itself bigger. Okay, I hope that makes sense, because you want to just make it a super really, really thin. We're going to zoom in a little bit closer so you can see. All right, that's good enough. Now what we want to do is watch, see those numbers there? The other document was 1.8, so we're going to get it way down to that. A little bit more. There. All right. Oop. Even 1.9 really did not fit. And I'm pretty sure it was 1.8 by 1. So we're going to check this one more time, just for the sake of the video, that I don't take a whole lot longer. So what you then would need to do, we're going to back it out a little bit because we know that that fits. Otherwise, you would have had to have just played with it. All right, so we know that we need 8 of them to go across the back here. So this one is going to be a blue color because we want the males in at least a blue or navy or something like that. You can, if you don't like what colors they show up here, click this box here, and then you can drag the little indicator around to whatever you want it to be. All right. So what we're going to do is, so this will help save time, we want to duplicate this double box, is the duplicate button, and we're going to make the pairs of each, for each animal. All right, so we need a female box here. Typically they are done in red. Sometimes people do them in pink. It's up to you. All right, now notice how these are gapped slightly. So I left them like that. What we're going to do is drag across each of them. So click your mouse button and hold and drag. All right, now technically they are grouped together, but and you could see I can drag them together, but they are not permanently grouped together. So if I clicked over here, it separates them again. Okay, so it's up to you. If you're good with the computer, then don't bother doing this part, but I would click group. Then we need 4 sets of these, so we need 3 more. We already have 1, so 2, 3, 4. Okay, so we're going to take the first pair, drag it all the way down, the second. All right, see, this is where it gets fun. Now we have to get this one group in here. Okay, so we're going to ungroup everybody, as long as you get them okay, as long as you get them somewhat highlighted, it will ungroup all the ones that are selected. All right, so let's just do this real easy. We need to get the edge corners, or the edge boxes, as low as we can possibly get it. And then we're going to bring these ones down. And then these ones down. If you don't care that they are butted up together, you can also do that. There's nothing that's going to make it like unofficial or anything like that. We just have to fit all of these boxes in there. So for the sake of time, I think I'm going to go ahead and do this. But you are more than welcome to do what you prefer, okay? Because see how much work this is? It takes a lot of time to get them all in there. All right, we're in misalignment here. So let's go ahead and pull all of these forward. Now, since you're working with a digital tool and you are going to be writing, like filling them out on here, you can go ahead and make them a little bit smaller, just because this is, it's just not wanting to work out today. So we're going to drag and drop them all down to, I think that one went back up. Yep. Dragging them all back down to 0.9. Just to make this fit for sake of having a super long video, because I want to make it as short as possible. All right, we're gonna pop this one up. All right. Okay, now that is good enough for the video. So you can at least see that they are all fit in here. So now we need 4 adults or animals. So we're going to put these 2 here, and then we have to get basically a 3-generation pedigree or 4 rows. So there's going to be 2 animals in this row and 1 over here. So the length isn't nearly as much trouble as trying to get all of those in there. So basically this is the buck, and these are his parents, and these are her parents. So this will typically be, or this will be the grandparents to the animal that you are making the pedigree for, okay? I'm just trying to show you how to make one right now. If you want to look at all of the nuances of a pedigree, go ahead and watch this video over here, and that will explain it. But if I stop to explain all of that now, this video will be very long. Now, the one thing that you have to leave space for is there's going to be text at the top that at the very least, since you are making this for your breed, put your breed name and then pedigree at the top, okay? So we're going to put that up there so that we don't overcrowd it. Over here is where you have the text button, and in the free version, if you have not selected a paid version for any amount of time, I do believe that you are stuck with whatever they put here. So I have been able to put my particular brand fonts there, but you may not be able to choose that. So just pick something, and then there are tons and tons of options up in this text option, or the different texts here. So anything in here with a crown next to it has to be in the paid account to be able to use it, or Canva Pro. But any of these without that, you are able to use it, okay? So you can click on any of these and see what it looks like, and it will change it, okay? So we're not going to get too fussy with it. Now, since I raise French lops, this is what I'm going to show you how I would do it, since you would know the breed that you're using or making it for. All right, so just do the breed and pedigree, okay? So just remember that this, you were looking at it at almost half the size of a piece of paper. So you really don't need it to be that big. Right about there is probably okay. Now, if you have used Word documents at all, here is the pixel size of the font, okay? So you, if you're used to that, then that's what it will typically look like. Now, here's where it gets a little bit tricky. You can, and personally, I would go ahead and offset it. It really doesn't, I'm not going to say it doesn't matter, but alignment is of these boxes is going to be better than getting this in a particular place, okay? Because we want the family tree of the animals to be the focus. Okay, so now that we've got those 2 in alignment, we're going to group them, then duplicate. Now let's see if they will align relatively well with their set of parents. Not too bad. Now we're going to duplicate another set. This is the animal that you're making the pedigree for. These are his parents. Now, whoops. Now, when you go to drag them, you need to ungroup them once again, or they're going to just drag together. Now, before we adjust those sizes, let's duplicate one more box for the animal itself that you are making it. Since you know the sex of it, you can change it to the red or the blue for the bucks, but for any of the templates that I have used, I just leave it black, and then if you end up changing it, great. If not, that doesn't matter. It would just trigger if someone saw blue around it and then they knew that the animal was a doe, then that's gonna like basically make it look not accurate. Okay. All right, before we get to any of the other information, there are a few more things we need to add to the outer edge of this. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first. So go ahead and grab a smaller text box. One thing that needs to go down right about here is this statement. All right, where it says, I hereby certify that this pedigree is correct to the best of my knowledge and belief. So it says signed there as well, so you can either type in your name before you print them off, or you can hand sign it. It really doesn't matter. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to copy and bring that over to left justify anything. You click this little line section there, and you can for other documents you can click and see it shifts it any direction. Okay. All right, now I want to make something else clear. One thing that typically, now this is also if you intend to tattoo your rabbits, which they do not have to be tattooed unless they are being shown. However, if you are going through the trouble of making a pedigree for them, at the very least, give them an ID number. So look at the tattoo as that. You are able to make any kind of sequence of numbers that you want. So I'm just going to type ear number here, right there, in the ear number typically goes right up here in the top corner. So see, this is why we kind of try and make things a little bit more adjustable. It's normally not that long. Usually they are tops 5 to 7 numbers, but most people put the ear number here, or most programs will put it there. And then you can put this next piece any of two places. Oftentimes the address and information, contact info of the breeder itself goes in the bottom. We're going to see if we can squish this in here. This text is typically on most pedigrees a lot smaller, so we're going to click this down. Yeah, we'll leave it at a 10. Okay, so it doesn't really matter like I said, which space you put this in, but I'm going to shift it up here. You could play with these, make these a little bit smaller. Actually here, yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're going to back these up just a bit. Okay, see, that's the beauty of having these things locked down or grouped together. You can drag and move them a little bit more. So we're gonna back up this one and this one to give us a little bit more space, because I want to do it correctly, but we need some breathing room. All right, so here's what you need to have. Breeder name. I'm going to zoom in so you can see it. Address. Phone number. And site URL. Oops. If you have one. If you don't have all of these, then just do what you have. But typically just pick your choice contact information. Not all rabbit raisers have a website. You don't have to have one. If you only want to put your email, that's fine too. Depending on the level that you get to, there are other options for phone numbers as well. But I'm not going to get into that today. So the other thing that you see how wide these letters are? So what we're going to do is come up in here, and that is for spacing. So there is letter spacing, which stretches that out. Whoop. So we're going to get this down. You can also type in here. So we're going to get it down to 0. Highlight them. And see, these are almost 1.5. So I'm going to see what 1 does. Yep, see, that squishes it up nice and tight. So you are able to drag this either direction, and it will space them out or scrunch them together. Okay, so most times this information is down here and it's very small. Always leave this down here personally, but I would say that it's fine to bring this information up here. So it's up to you what you want to do. So you would fill that information out. Now let's get to the good stuff. What you want to do now that you have all of this information here, what we're going to do is we are going to highlight all of it, drag it across. So we've got everything highlighted. We're going to come in here for more options. Then this button here is it's exactly what it says. It locks everything down so that no matter what you do on top of it, you cannot move any of it. You can click it, but you're going to have to unlock it first. See, this element cannot be edited. The reason you want to do that is because we're going to go back in and we're going to put the information about the animals back on it, or, you know, as another layer on top. Okay? So what I'm going to do is just copy and paste this one so we can get it in there and not take up a whole ton of time. Okay? Now, you come in and click the text box. Now, you would just start typing them into this. Now, it's not going to be in the correct alignment regardless. So we're going to need to left justify them, and we're starting with the top corner up here. So we're going to position it and zoom way in because you can. And because why work with something smaller unless you have to? All right, here is the beauty of this part. Let's get rid of this gap. Whoop. Now, first, before you shrink anything, space the registration number. That, like I said, go back and watch some of those videos so you can understand what some of these things are. But these two are typically in alignment out here a little bit. So you want the animal's name, the color, the ear number, their weight, which is typically just the senior weight. Unless they have gotten, like, some bucks, especially when like they're a larger breed, like the French Laps, they can obviously make babies before they are done growing. So even in that instance, I always put at least what the buck weighs at the time, okay, even if he's not done growing. One other thing I want to make as a statement. These pedigrees obviously are done on the honor system, so please, please do not make any information up. If you're not sure what it is, leave it blank. I have gotten so many calls about different things where people have ended up with an animal that came from me, and they're trying to get the pedigree a little bit more accurate. I have seen people put colors for what is called a fawn, which is almost like an orangey color. They will call it blonde. That's not even a rabbit color name. So if you are not sure, look it up, okay? Do not make this stuff up because it's going to like devalue your animal, okay? So if someone comes to buy from you and they see that you know, put in a bunch of colors that are incorrect, someone like I don't want to put myself on a pedestal, but I could fix it, okay? So I know the animal well enough that I could fix it myself. But someone who, like, something goes, oh, that's not right, they're going to immediately distrust you, okay? Anything that looks like it is not accurate and they maybe don't know exactly what's wrong, you're losing trust. And so that's what's going to keep people from coming back to you later, okay? The other thing is the weight. For the love of all things rabbit raising, do not exaggerate it, okay? I have people coming back to me and saying that, oh, he ended up getting to 22 pounds. That's not, no, he wasn't, unless he was morbidly obese, okay? And the largest that a French lap typically has gotten is 15, maybe 16 to 17 pounds. But people who have exaggerated it, and then when I had someone come over and I put their rabbit on the scale, they were like, oh, he was 18, well, he ended up weighing about 12. They were eyeballing it, and it's just, as you can tell, it gets me fired up. And just, if you're not sure, you don't need a special scale. If you use a kitchen scale, that's fine. Use something to figure out the weight and get it accurate, okay? You can even go buy a baby scale at Walmart, okay? So I'm gonna stop, but just keep it accurate, okay? So this little dot that was in the corner, you can drag and drop these and see how that is shrinking the text at the same time. So that saves you from having these highlighted all the way out here and then trying to come in here and just guess and try and see what fits in. Do you see that? So we're just going to keep on dragging it until we get in alignment with this here, okay? So the thing that you could do, what we're going to try, once you get it in to the right amount there, you can click up just one point, and that will fill it out correctly, okay? So then you would end up duplicating this one and filling out the rest down below, okay? So I'm going to back out just a bit. We're going to come up here and duplicate this again because we just need the same information here. All right, the one thing that I want to point out that isn't necessary, but some people think it's nice to have, this is the date of birth. So you don't have to have it. That's kind of just an added nicety that some programs do. So if you want to go ahead and add it, you can do that as well. So just drag it out so it fits. Then we're going to come in and duplicate again. And these are almost the same size, so we're not going to go ahead, we're not going to bother making it any different. All right, now there's one difference here. The reason you don't have to have the sex indicated in the box is because it's here, it's in alignment. The male goes on top, the female is down here on the bottom, and the same goes for the ones behind them. So it's male, doe, or let me rephrase that, buck, doe, okay? So those are always in alignment, and that's we also indicate it by the color. The only difference with this box, because this is for the animal that you are making the pedigree for, we have to fit the sex in this box, okay? So that is typically on the bottom. So we are going to put that there, and that would be whatever the animal is. So that, like I said, if that's why it didn't really matter if you do not end up changing this black box, okay? So if you change it, great. If not, it's okay. All right, and that is typically it. The only thing that you would just finish up doing is to duplicate all of these and fill in these extra boxes. All right, now let's just say that this was completed. We're going to highlight this again, and these are the ones that are not locked in, so we want to lock those in. There it is. And then we're essentially doing another layer come on top in order to fill in this information. Okay, so we grab another text box, and it's coming. There it is. Okay, now we're going to put this over top of this one just so that we can see it. And that is what you would typically do to fill it out. Rabbit name. I need to zoom in because I can't see it. Yeah, I figured that was what's going on. All right, now the same goes with, like I drag any of these boxes, you can drag and make them bigger or smaller. Once you get all of the animals' information in, and you are ready to download, you will come up here to where it says download, obviously. And then because Canva does so much, they have different file options, okay? So there's GIFs, there's videos, there's PDFs, all of that good stuff. So the print one is just a little bit higher quality, but we just need standard PDF. So you want to click that, and then when you're ready to download, one more thing that I want to make note of, because I've done it before too. This box up here is a duplicate button. So you can make copies of each one really quickly. And one tip that I'm not going to go too deep into this because it's in another one. But let's just say that you have maybe 5 animals, like maybe you don't have a whole ton of breeding options. So what you can do is, let's just say you have 3 bucks. What you could do is go in and fill in this half of their information. This is the animals from the buck's ancestry. So go in, this would be the sire's information on top here. So go in and just fill in his information and then just leave it. So whatever doe that you end up breeding him with, you could only have to fill in this information down here. Okay, so that saves you half the time. Another thing to do before you end up printing a bunch of them, what you could end up doing is for each pair that you have, before you print them, or before you end up adding all of their kids, the litter's information, make the pair, put the pair's information in the pedigree, then duplicate it times however many babies you have, because then what you're going to be able to do is just go in and change the junior's information. So just think about what you need to make first before you make 8 of them, then have to go in and fill them in 8 times each. Okay, I hope that makes sense. All right, I hope that was helpful for you. And when you are ready to download with multiple pages, there's 2 ways you can do it. See where, if you want to print them all out, then just click download all pages. But if you have your blank template at the top and you don't want to print it, and you just want to download one pedigree, only check, you can click just one of these pages. Okay, does that make sense? So let's just say you want the second one, but not the first page. Then you just check that box, then click done, and then download. Okay, well this is PNG, so we want to make sure that it is PDF. Okay, then you're able to go ahead and download it like that, and it will be able to open it on your computer and print it. Okay. All right, I hope that was helpful for you, and if you have other videos you want me to make sure to drop that in the comments as well, and I will see you in the next episode.